there's a lot of, like we said, cool things in the works.
Things coming.
Let's jump into the mental health check. How are you doing, man? How was your weekend?
All right. Mentally, I feel like I'm doing well. I feel like I think a lot of it has to do with just like, the whole. I've been exercising daily, which is always helpful, and then I don't want to call it a diet because I hate the thought of like it being a diet.
You just change your eating habits.
I've changed my eating habits for sure, and like the thing for me is I try to think of like I'm trying to be really hard on not doing sugar. Like that's like the big one for me, and then along with that I've been doing keto, but I've been pretty like half-ass on it. Like
yeah,
like.
I can see that.
Yeah, like I feel like when I'm like for any like sushi or the day we had like friends over, we were barbecuing, I was like, I'll break for this. But for the most part, it's been pretty easy for me to like stick to it when I do it. But then like if something's coming up or like we're out going out to eat or with family,
you're not gonna let it stop you from
yeah,
which is good though. Like I think when it comes to like the word diet and stuff, this conversation happens actually a lot more in this household than I'd like to admit, but like the word diet always sounds like a temporary thing,
right?
Like it just sounds like, oh, I'm just doing this for a short period of time to get to where I need to be, and then that's that, but I think that it just needs to be like an overall like just lifestyle change in general. Yeah. And from what I've seen, you're pretty consistent. Like you've lost some weight, you look good. Yeah, 15. Getting into those larges again. Yeah. I was talking to Raul about getting some Liquid Death merch, and he was like, "Yeah, there's a merch order coming. What sizes are you guys?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm rocking the XLs." And I go, "Mike is in that in between the large and the XLs, and he wants to lean more towards the larges." And Raul was like, "So would the large be like the motivating factor here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so."
Yeah, 100%. So
he's gonna rock the larges. I was wearing the slim stuff for so long that it just feels so free to be in the XLs lately. Yeah, that I'm like, I'm gonna stick to the XLs. I'm still gonna work out, but the XLs are comfy.
Yeah, all my work shirts are XLs and they're comfy. Like I like that. So actually, so this shirt. It's a conviction. It's a convictions t-shirt, and this was like this show was pretty much the beginning of like my start of all this stuff, and so I remember at that show when I bought merch from them and I bought merch from Earth Crones, and when they asked, I was like, large. I was like, yeah, I'll do large. Knowing full well I couldn't fit in them at that moment, but I was like, I'm going to, and so here I am. And so I think I don't know. I feel like you said, I don't want this just to be like a temporary thing. I kind of like the concept of this, and I like the fact that if when I do like whatever cheat on my diet and what it is, I feel like it'll just be like that much more exciting and mean that much more. It's like, it's made things like for instance, like when we had Chris and Jesse and everyone over and you barbecued and stuff, I was like, I'll have a burger. I'll have chips.
Yeah, I'll have chips and I'll have.
No, it was.
And Mike had some chips.
So hard on the chips. I probably went harder on the chips than anything. I think.
Yeah, you just missed them so much,
dude. Yeah. So, but yeah, so it's been nice. And then the other weird thing that I've been like crazy consistent on has been my jump rope, man. And I wish I could report that like I'm getting better at it, but like, dude, I'm so bad.
You're like, but my shins would say otherwise.
Dude, it's my
your
toes,
feet?
Dude. It's my toes. I keep using my freaking toes on this thing. And my shoes I wear. I think I just need better shoes. But so mentally I feel like I've been good, man. I feel like a lot of the stuff that's been happening with this the podcast, I feel like is really it's been helping. It's been changing my thinking about things, and I feel I'm excited for what's coming. I'm excited for like that work ahead because there's a lot of work ahead, I feel.
Yeah.
And so it's just been all that has been very good for me mentally, and I feel like the exercise stuff has been good too. And I'm slowly, I need to pick it up, and I'm slowly starting to get back into like having to get ready for the shows.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat as you. I think that as far as this show goes, like, with next week being episode 40, I think we should jump back on the live again and do another, like, let's get on the live like an hour before the show and just field like a bunch of questions. Like, let's get some questions, get some community topics, and we'll do like a traditional Walking Blind, questions episode for episode 40.
Cool.
And I mean, like, there could be some cool stuff to talk about, because I don't, as messed up as it sounds, I don't know if we've talked about like the official announcement about the Pacific Northwest shows. Did we talk about it?
I don't think so. So
we'll jump in a little more into that, and then like kind of what's been going on there. We can talk a little more about like the EP and like some merch and stuff that we have planned for the Walking Blind. We'll get into that, a little bit down the road in this episode, but I think definitely episode 40, we should do a listener episode.
Cool.
Yeah. So we'll jump into that.
Damn. Where are you at?
So some of you guys may notice my voice is a little messed up. And as much as I would like to say that this is from practicing and getting ready for shows, so I'm going to paint a picture for you. And I don't think I told you like the whole story about what happened. I saw you the day before, right? So this week on Tuesday, I had taken some time off for some family stuff. And then like Tuesday night, my stomach started hurting. And then I was just thinking like everything under the sun, like, was it the burgers and barbecue that we had like a couple nights before? Like, was it ceviche?
And you had mentioned discomfort, I feel like a week ago almost, right? But for sure on Monday night, because that's when I was like, it was appendicitis.
Yeah. So, but like, well, I guess I had been feeling like super, super bloated. Like, and I had felt like I could see it. Like, I know I had gained weight, but I felt it like all the way up here, and just like bloated. And then, so anyways, Tuesday rolls around. Tuesday night, I was laying on the couch, just like in pain. Crime, I got home from work, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "My stomach is just," and then I felt really bad for her because she made ceviche, but she was like, "Hey, grab some shrimp. And, I'm going to make you real ceviche. That way you don't have to eat the vegan shrimp," which vegan shrimp is fucking weird, by the way. So like we had real ceviche, and I was like, "This is fire. It's so good." But then my stomach was hurting. She's like, "It was me. I killed him." And I was like, so that was whatever. The next day I called off of work on that Wednesday because I was like, I don't feel good. Like I thought maybe I'm just tired. I didn't sleep enough. This is stress. Like, we've had a lot going on, a lot of like shit, like a lot of wheels turning. So I thought that everything was just getting to me. So I was like, I'm gonna take the day off. And then like all throughout the day, I just had the same, like, like the best way I can explain it, like when you're drinking and then you eat fast food and then you feel that like, I'm either gonna throw up or I'm gonna have diarrhea or both. And it's that pain all in your stomach. That's what it felt like all day. And I was like, this sucks. And so the next day I took the next day off. It was there. The pain was still there, but it had all moved down to like the lower part of like my abdomen. And that's when I took that day off, and I was like, I'm going to get a lot of stuff done, but I can't stay home and do it because Elliot's here. Like, there's going to be a bunch of shit. So I went to Daily Brew. Yep. I was working on a bunch of stuff. You were working. And then, like that whole day, like I ate just fine. Like I never had like nausea, like stomach issues. It's just pain. And then all day it felt like that. And then when I woke up Thursday morning, I was like, something's wrong. It never lasts this long. I'm going to go to urgent care. So I called off work and I drove myself to urgent care. And I go walking in, and they're like, "Oh, what can we see?" I mean, my stomach's been messed up. It's just like a sharp pain, especially when I stand up or I move. Excuse me. And they're like, "Okay." So they pull me back and they triage me, and then they take me to the back. And then the resident that's there at urgent care was like, what you're explaining sounds like appendicitis, but you're in a gray area because most people that come here that have appendicitis are like doubled over in pain and they're like miserable and they're like, you look awfully chill.
You're like, you don't know my life.
And I was like, well, I mean, like, and they were like, you know, so like then starts the train of doctors all pushing on my stomach to see where it hurts. And I'm like, right there. So then they're like, okay, so we're going to give you, take blood work and then we're going to do a CT scan. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So first they try to draw blood like through the side of my arm. Weird. It's weird. And the lady like goes to draw blood. She's like, man, you have really good veins. And then she like basically taps into the vein. And then she's like, nothing's coming out. There's no blood coming out. I was like, am I dead? She's like, this is so weird. Like, cause it's like you have really good, veins. I can't get anything out. And I was like, okay. So then they put it in my hand. Right. Ooh. So they put it in the top of my hand and then they drew blood from my hand and then they capped it. And they're like, well, we're probably going to give you an IV. So we'll just leave it. Hmm. Now, let me preface this also. It's 8:30 in the morning. I hadn't eaten shit since 7 p.m. the night before. My thought was, I'm going to go to urgent care, get some medicine, figure out what this is. Maybe it's some weird gas. And then I'm going to go get breakfast. I'm going to get coffee and a breakfast, right? Oh. So then they're like, we're waiting on the blood work, but we're going to get a CT scan going just in case. Okay, cool. So they order a CT scan. I'm there for a couple hours and they pull me in for the CT scan. And then the guy's like giving me all these weird explanations. He's like, you're gonna put your arms above your head. Then we're going to inject iodine into your system. He's like, if you've never had it before, it's going to feel weird. You're going to feel like, you know, like a metallic taste. Your arm's going to feel cold. Then your groin is going to get really hot. It's normal. Don't worry about it. And I was like, okay. And then because it was like my abdomen, they're like, do your shorts have metal? And they have the zippers on the side. I was like, yeah. He goes, you have to pull those bad boys down to your ankles. I was like, all right. So I pull my shorts down to my ankles and I'm in this fucking CT scan. And then I go back to the bed. And now, like, one thing that a lot of people don't know about me is I don't like attention, right? Like, I know that because we play in a band and you're the fucking lead singer and shit like that, like, but I don't like people focusing on me. Yeah. The music thing it is what it is. Anything outside of that, I'm like, just leave me alone. So doctor comes back over after like another hour. Your blood work came back. You do have an infection in your appendix. You have acute appendicitis. We have to transfer you over to the emergency room so that you can get a consult for surgery today. Oh. And I go, okay. And they're like, so yeah, we're going to transfer you over, sign you out. You know, you'll talk to an ACS surgeon, an acute care surgeon. I'm like, okay, cool. Do I just drive over there? Or like, they're like, no, you have appendicitis. You can't go driving places. I'm like, it's a half mile away. My car's here. And they're like, we're going to transfer you. And I go, okay, dude. The ambulance pulls up. These two pretty handsome, young, tattooed buff dudes walk in. They're like, this is the patient, whatever. They bring a fucking gurney. And I was like, what? Yo, I could walk, right? And they're like, it's protocol. We have to put you in the gurney. We'll at least sit you up. And then so like,
can you at least carry me?
I was like, what the fuck? So then I get in this gurney and they like strap me down, like around my ankles, around my knees, like around my waist. And they really jumps around my waist because that's where, you know. And then they roll me out and I'm just like, all the nurses are like, bye. And I'm like, later, everybody. And they just like wheel me out, put me in an ambulance, lock me in. And then one of the dudes goes, did you request to be picked up by ambulance? I go, no. I was like, my car's right there. I could drive right there. It's a half mile.
They're both like, you know, it's like a half mile away.
Yeah. And dude's like, well, I mean, we don't always get these calls, but for transport, you know, we just have to follow protocol. I'm like, all right, cool.
So you like shit.
So then they're fucking like taking my vitals again. And they're asking me all these questions. And they're like asking all the shit that goes with appendicitis. Like you have nausea, vomiting, like diarrhea. Like, and I'm like, no.
You're like, not an abnormal amount of diarrhea.
Yeah. Just a regular amount of diarrhea that everybody has daily. And then so the guy's like, so we're really just transferring you because you have appendicitis. And I go, I'm just here for the ride, doc. Yeah. I'm just here for the ride, literally. So then they drive me the half mile across the street and they drop me off in the ER. They wheel me in a gurney in the ER, right? Then they put a cuff on you and they check your vitals. Then they just leave the cuff on your arm because apparently it's your cuff now. It goes with you wherever
What's
you go.
a cuff?
The blood pressure cuff.
Oh, okay.
So now I have a IV in my hand.
Can
the
you
needle's
feel that?
yeah.
Oh.
So I have the needle in my hand. It's like taped down, and then I have an IV cuff on my left arm, and I'm like, all right, whatever. And they're like, hey, we need to check, your everything, whatever. So they start putting the little probes on me, right? So I got like 4 probes on me, IV cuff. Cool. And then they're like, cool. So yeah, we'll have him go in the waiting room. Go ahead and put him in a wheelchair and wheel him out. I'm like, I could walk to the waiting room. They're like, sir, appendicitis. Go ahead and, so they put me in the wheelchair and they wheel me out to the waiting room. And it's the same EMT. Like he was kind of walking through it all. He's like, dude, I'm sorry that they're doing this. I was like, it's cool, dude. Like just whatever. And he's like, all right, man. Where do you want me to park you? I was like, just wheel me to the room. I'll get up and get in a chair. He's like, all right, that's fair. So I get up and I go sit by the window. He's like, all right, man, good luck. Take it easy. I'm like, all right, see you later. So now I'm just sitting in the ER waiting room and like I'm on my phone. By now, I got there at 8:30. It's now like 11:30 or something like that. And Crime Ed just got off from work. So I go, hey, can you bring me a charger? Because my phone's going to die. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. And then she's like, well, what's the COVID policy? Oh, I tested negative for COVID, by the way, also.
Oh, nice.
Weird. And then so they're like, what's the... And I was like, I guess you can come by. Like, we're in the same household. And then so I added her like to my emergency contacts just so that they wouldn't give her grief. Right. Like added her underneath. And then so that she shows up and she's hanging out with me. We're there for a few hours. And then they finally call my name. And then I get up and I walk over and they put me like in a chair in the back. I'm there for like 15 minutes. Then the nurse comes back and is like, hey, so you have appendicitis? So you're probably going to be here for a while. So we're just going to get you a bed. And I go, okay. And they're like, yeah, so follow me. And so then we follow them to a room. And then...
Oh, do you think our microphone's going to pick up Isley snoring?
Probably.
All right.
If you hear the dog snoring, it's
Isley. She's fine.
It's Isley. She's okay. And then so they take me to a bed. Mind you, because of like overflow, I'm in the children's hospital side of things. So all that's on TV is like Paw Patrol, and I don't have a remote to change it.
Awesome.
I'm laying there, and they put an IV in, and then they come and they check all the probes, and they're like, oh, urgent care did these wrong. So then here's 4 more probes in different places.
Oh,
right?
my gosh.
So now I'm at like 8 or something like that. And they have me hooked up to all these machines and monitors and stuff, and then they give me an IV drip. And then I'm there for probably like another 3 hours.
What time? So what time is this?
So this is like, I'm there probably until like 6.
Okay. And you still haven't eaten, or did you find?
I haven't eaten. Oh. They keep telling me you can't eat. You can't eat.
Oh, well.
All right, cool. So then this is like 6-ish, and then finally they need that bed, and they're like, and then every person that comes in, they're like, you have appendicitis and you don't look like you do. Like, and then even like the scribe that comes to take notes, she's like, I've never seen somebody come in with appendicitis and not be doubled over in pain. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, and they're like, do you have a really high pain tolerance? I was like, I mean, I guess it's pretty high, so.
Even my mom, 'cause when you're texting me, you're like, yeah, it's appendicitis. I'm here at the ER. I'm going to do something. My mom was like, oh my goodness. So did they already have a surgery? And I'm like, wait, I was like, I don't think so. I don't know. Like I was like, he just got in there. She's like, well then he's probably going to surgery like pretty soon.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess. I don't know.
So it's funny because most people were like, oh my God, you must be in so much pain. And I was like, maybe if it bursts, I'll be in pain. But like right now, like, yeah, it hurts, but it's not like, the end all be all of my existence type thing. And then they were like, well, you must have a really high pain tolerance then, because most people, even just with what you have, are like out. Dang. Like they ask for like drugs, everything. They're like, do you want anything? I'm like, no, I just want to get it done.
Like, I want to eat.
And then finally, like around 6-ish, they transfer me up to pre-op. Once again, they come by, put me in a wheelchair, wheel me to pre-op, and I'm just sitting there the whole time.
I think that's when you text Martin. You were starting texting Martin and I, right?
I think I had texted you when I was at urgent care, but then I was like, yeah, I'm going in for surgery.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh fuck. So I get to pre-op, and they're like, all right, like here's those stupid socks with the rubber on them. And then here's a gown. And I was like, do I take everything off? And like, I'm telling jokes this whole time. The nurses are like, yeah, you take everything off because that's what surgery wants. They're like, but let us know if you do take everything off, that way we know what to expect when we move the blanket. I was like, you're not going to see much, but you know, it's all off, whatever, right?
It's all coming off.
And then, so I get up there and then they're like, ER just didn't even give you the right size, port for the IV, so we have to put another one in. So now they put another even bigger gauge needle in my right hand, so now I have two, like one on each side, and they're like, we're not taking that off till all the procedures are done. And then also they're like, oh, ER had these in the wrong place, so now I have like fucking 12 buttons all over me. And then I have the IV in, and then the nurse, one of the dudes is like, oh, so you're getting your gallbladder removed. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And apparently like I had like slight indications of like gallstones. He's like, oh no, sorry, appendix. And I'm like, but the surgeon who had consulted me before that while I was still in the ER said the same thing. Getting the gallbladder taken out, huh? And I was like, it's appendicitis. Why are we taking my gallbladder? Oh yeah, sorry, appendicitis.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So then I look at Karaima and I'm like, am I going to leave here without a fucking gallbladder? Like, what's happening? So finally at like right around 9 p.m., the anesthesiologist comes in, and they had warned me like, hey, because Loma Linda is a trauma hospital, like if somebody comes in with gunshot wounds or something like that, obviously they're going to take precedence over you. We're going to get you in tonight. We just don't know when. Okay. So then, and they were doing like this, like 5 doctors were just like pushing on my stomach. They're like, does it hurt more if I just push or with the rebound? And like this, I'm like, both of them hurt.
You're like, they both hurt a lot.
They both fucking hurt a lot. And they're like, well, you don't look like you're in pain. Well, I fucking am in pain. Like that sucks. So then, you know, they go, okay, yeah, we're going to pull you into surgery. And then the head nurse for the surgery is with the anesthesiologist. She comes over and they're like, all right, we're going to give you a cocktail that literally as soon as it hits, it's going to be like you took 5 shots back to back in a row and you're going to feel really good. It's going to take the edge off.
Like right now.
I go, sick. And then they're like, do you need to pee? And when's the last time you peed? And I was like, a couple hours ago. They go, if you go pee now, we don't have to put a catheter in. I was like, say less. I fucking got up. They're like, wait, let's take the IV out. I was like, take the fucking IV out. So I walked over to the bathroom and I pissed. And then like the whole time, like the back is open, so my butt cheeks are hanging out.
A little show for everyone.
And then like they had to put this pad on my back. It was all cold. They're like, the operating table's hard, so this will help. All right. So then they put that cocktail in, and dude, like instantly I felt just like hammered.
Nice.
Like, oh, and I'm like, and then they're wheeling me in and they're just talking to me like, you're going to take a few breaths of the oxygen. Once we know there's oxygen in your lungs, then we're going to administer the anesthesia and you'll be out. I was like, all right, cool. So like the movies, like I remember going into the room and like looking up at the lights in the ceiling in the operating room. And then they put the mask on me, like 3 deep breaths. And they're like, all right, we're giving you the anesthesia. And the dude's like, later. And that's it. I woke up in the recovery room. I was like,
nice.
Oh shit. And then they're like, how you feel? I was like I left a piece of me behind. Like just, and then so they like it, luckily because it hadn't burst and it was uncomplicated, it's like it was laparoscopic, so it was like a camera and like basically a robot that does the surgery. And so I have like 4 incisions. Like I have one main incision right here, one above my belly button, one under my belly button, and then like one up here. And it's like they're small enough that they didn't need stitches, but I was just super, super sore. So there's like a glue layer over them. Whoa. Like I have stitches internally on my muscle, but then on top they like, it's like the self-dissolving stuff, and then there's the glue that keeps it all together. Right. And for like the first day or 2, it was just like so hard to stand up and like move around. It's just sore. Now like I feel it if I'm like leaned over on this side or like I get up too quick, but like I was okay. I went back to work today and they were like, what are you doing here? And I was like, working. They're like, we were expecting you to be out all the way until like the end of the week. I was like, Why?
You're like, I can't be.
I was like, was that an option?
Yeah.
Because like the doctor's note they gave me, they were like, he's cleared to return to work on the 21st, 3 days after the surgery.
Damn.
So after I got home at like,
they're like, Mr. High Tolerance.
Yeah, Mr. High Tolerance for pain. You can go back to work tomorrow, pussy. Yeah. But I got home at like 1 a.m. Like we left my car at urgent care and we, drove home. And she's like, Crime is like, okay, do you need anything? You're good. I was like, I'm fucking so hungry. Like, I'm so hungry. And she's like, and it was like her opportunity to just like, oh, I'm going to feed you all the vegan food in the world. So it was like vegan pancakes and vegan sausage. Dude, I didn't care. It was the best meal I've ever had. I was like, these pancakes are delicious. She made them the other day. I was like, these definitely hit differently after anesthesia. But then like I'd been sitting in that room for so long just watching commercials for food. That one commercial for the new old style pepperoni pizzas at Little Caesars was like, it's the little mini pepperonis that curl up when you cook them. Oh. So I was like, I'm gonna get that fucking pizza. Got it last night. Not that great. Not that great.
Was that Little Caesars you said?
Yeah. So anyways, long story short, went to the ER thinking like, oh, I must have gas, or urgent care thinking I probably have gas. Left without my appendix. Dude. And COVID free apparently. So
you're not gonna have any like gnarly scars?
No, there's like a little indent.
Dude, my mom, she's like, I'm sure they're way better now. She's like, I got this big old scar, gnarly scar.
So,
like, oh.
So I guess what they said was, but they told me they're like, we're gonna go in initially with the camera and stuff. They go, but if we get in there and we realize it's gonna be more like complicated of a surgery, they're like, then we're just gonna switch and completely open you up. So I really wasn't gonna know what the outcome was until I got up, right? But then they were like, yeah, it was uncomplicated. We were able to get in there pretty quick. But then my throat's all messed up because after they put me under, then they put the trach tube down my throat. So, and all week I've been describing it like this until my mom was like, it's called a uvula. I was like, the little dangly thing that Cardi B talks about in the back of your throat. Because it was so swollen from that trach tube that it was like enlarged, and it kept like, I kept choking on it because it would like flip up onto the back of my tongue. And I'm like, what is that? And I had to re-swallow it again because it was so swollen. And finally, like, starting today, like, it's still not as bad, but my throat is still a little jacked up.
Dude.
So that's why I'm talking like this. But yeah, it was definitely an experience.
Yeah, I didn't realize how gnarly those things are until my mom was like, I think I get him surgery right away. I was like, it doesn't sound like he's gonna be in surgery right away.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, cause she's like, yeah, the burst, I think it gets in your bloodstream and it gets real serious.
You could die.
Yeah. And she's like, man,
septic.
She's like, man, he must be in so much pain. And I was like, yeah, I guess maybe. He's like, I don't know. It doesn't sound like he,
Yeah.
I was like, I saw him yesterday.
Yeah. Like, he looked fine yesterday. Yeah. And I think that like, so they were saying like, it's not perforated. It's just infected at this point, which means that like it hadn't burst or anything. So they were like, but if it bursts, like Dan, when I was texting Dan and Jake about it, Dan was like, dude, he's like, mine was so painful. He's like, I was in so much pain. And then it burst and it was like 10 times worse. I was like, oh, fuck.
Wait, how does one get appendicitis?
So the appendix is just like this. Like, to this day, they haven't figured out what it's for. It does nothing. It just sits at the end of your large intestine, and it's just like this little extra, like, dangly flap thing. And then, like, what can happen is, and then this is going to sound gross, but like this is what happened with me. You can get like, you can either get an infection from like viruses or things like that, or you can get what's called a fecal impaction, where something just gets stuck in that little hole for the appendix. And when it's stuck in there, then it starts to swell up and become inflamed, and that's when it bursts. Right? So they're saying like it could be something as small as even like nuts and grains that just get lodged in there, and then from there it just starts to swell up. But the appendix does nothing. It's literally just a fucking sac at the end of your intestines. So when they were telling me this, they're like, have you had like a nuts or grains or anything recently? And I was like, well, ever since my girlfriend moved in, it's been a lot more plant-based things. She's like, it's not me. It's not my fault. I was like, I never had this problem with steak and potatoes.
I'm saving your life.
So I was just trying to give her as much shit as I could the whole time. But yeah, so it was like legit just like a day of just sitting in waiting rooms and then surgery. And then like now, like I'm still on muscle relaxers and pain medicine. So like I don't feel it as much, but like I was able to go to work, and then like as long as I would get up and stretch and kind of move around and stuff, it was okay. But yeah, definitely. And then like, so I had let Joe know because it was Joe's birthday, and I was like, oh, hey, I'm not going to make it because, you know, and she's like, no, that's a really valid reason why you wouldn't be there. And I was like, all right, just making sure, you know, so.
That reminds me. It's Joe Gill's birthday right now.
Oh.
I never miss a year.
So that's my my weekend recap. It was not much of a weekend to talk about, but it was a weekend to talk about.
Fucking birthday, sorry. It's fucking next month. Yeah, that's quite a my goodness. That's a weekend recap. Mental health.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah. So I
and mind you, Martin and I were not much help in our texts when he was texting us.
Yeah, that was that text chain is always interesting.
Yeah. I was like, I called it.
Let's see. Let me read you some of the messages. Let's see. Mike, I said, or I texted you guys at like 4. Or Mike goes, oh, fuck, did I call it? I said, I think you did. And Mike said, I smart. That sucks, though. And then I was like, so surgery tonight, just not sure when. And Martin's like, well, shit, you'll have a badass scar now. And I was like, I don't think it's even going to be that big. It's the laparoscopic procedure. And Martin said, don't know what that is, but it sounds sick. And then Mike goes, is that the procedure that will enhance your powers? Do you need a ride? And I was like, nah, Karima is here. And Martin said, is she there to core in your IMA? And then sent the, ha, got him. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I didn't understand that either.
And then he just totally changed the subject. He's like, we're going to YouTube event right now. And we're like, okay, cool. So, yeah. It was.
I'm glad you didn't get that either, because I was like, what the fuck?
I mean, I knew what he was trying to do. He was intentionally being dumb, but I was just like, fucking Martin.